Hello, it's Friday, April 23rd, 2021, and I'm Chris Hamel, president of Gateway Film Center. Welcome to Conversations from the Center. Tonight, I'm joined by one of my most frequent partners in crime on this show, Columbus Underground and Madwood film critic, Hope Madden. Hope, say hello.
Hello.
I'm thrilled you're here tonight because, one, you may notice I'm at the Film Center.
Right.
I'm in the Torpedo Room, and it is Academy Award weekend. And the Film Center, despite being in hiatus for all these many months, could not miss the opportunity to reopen and screen for Columbus all of the Best Picture nominees from this year's Oscars, and also all the nominated short films from this year's Oscars. So we're going to spend tonight's special edition talking only about the Oscars. So Hope, I want to get started by asking you a pretty easy question. You got any favorite Oscar moments from all these years we've been watching together?
I know it's pretty recent, so maybe recency bias, but Bong Joon-ho's win for Best Picture, which is, the fifth win, the fifth thing he picked up that day, but still, I thought that was pretty remarkable. And I think the other one that really made me so happy was when Get Out won Best Screenplay. Those were big for me. How about you?
Well, I think, as I told you before we started tonight, I really hadn't thought about the answer to the question for me. I have a couple, if you don't mind indulging me. The first one is, since we became Gateway Film Center in 2009, in the end of 2009, every year we've hosted this Oscar nominations breakfast, and you've been with us for a lot of those breakfasts. And I know it sounds strange, but some of my favorite Oscar moments from the last decade or so are watching the nominations with friends and colleagues and people in the industry in our city, and the gasps I hear when there's surprise nominations or movies that you're like just in love with that get nominated. So I guess not. It's a non-answer to the question, but I think my favorite Oscar moments recently are those. Two others that stand out: Catherine Bigelow's win in 2010. For a couple of reasons. One, I really, really loved The Hurt Locker. It was one of the first films I programmed at Gateway Film Center, and I was really happy for it to win. And second, I was so happy to watch Catherine Bigelow beat her husband, Dave Cameron, or ex-husband, and become the first female filmmaker ever to win Best Director. And criminally, I believe she's still the only one who has won Best Director. And then one more for you. I think I'm a giant Elliott Smith fan. And in 1997, when Elliott Smith's song Miss Misery was nominated for Best Original Song for Good Will Hunting, and he came out, remember, in the Oscar ceremony in like that total white suit, like Portland Jesus. And
I do.
He played that really incredible rendition of the song. And I think most of Oscar audience went like, who the hell is Elliott Smith, and why is this guy, why does he look like this? But it was a great moment for me. So we've got some questions that we chose, Hope, that I think we'll save to the end of tonight's conversation. I know you've talked a lot about Oscar already on some other programs you appear on. What do you think of this year's crop of nominations? I
love them. There are so few that I wouldn't have put on here. Very, very few. And they're, in terms of snubs, it's fewer than usual. Delroy Lindo really stands out to me. I cannot believe Delroy Lindo did not get an Oscar nomination for The Five Bloods. And my own personally, First Cow. It makes me so sad that it got no recognition at all, because it was such a magnificent film. But usually my list of complaints is much longer than two.
Yeah, it was a strange, 2020, pretty terrible year in general. So the nominations felt really different this year. You want to talk about that and what you think caused that?
Yeah, well, it's funny that most years when the nominations come out, people complain that none of the movies were, or very few of the movies were, like big blockbusters, and this year, zero blockbusters, because we didn't have any, which is fascinating, and to me, it's exciting, because it means two things. Two things. One is that the films are smaller, they're mostly independent films, and they're movies that would likely have flown under the radar, top to bottom, were it not for these nominations. And number two, they're all already streaming, which means right away everybody can access them. So I love that. I love how that has come together and really drawn attention to magnificent films that, in a year that had a lot of huge, star power blockbusters, they wouldn't have all been on here.
Sure. Now as we mentioned earlier, the Film Center is screening all of the Best Picture nominees, but we're also screening all of the Oscar-nominated short films. And I know you share my affection for these programs. I know you've seen all the nominated short films this year. Any favorites in the three categories: animation, live action, and documentary?
Yeah, I think the first thing I should point out is that I'm wrong every year when I guess who wins. Every year, I have no idea what the Academy looks for apparently in a short film. But my own personal favorite of all of the series, did you see Opera?
I did.
I could not stop staring at that movie. I just kept moving closer and closer and closer to the screen. I could not get over how utterly fascinating. It's a short animated film, just magnificent. And all the short animated films were great, as they always are. I mean, that's always the most fun to watch. And of course, the other side is the short documentaries, which is all the most gut wrenching to watch. Right. No different this year. And Hunger Ward was, I think, the one that left me reeling the hardest. And also, that'd be my guess, is the one that probably to win. And then in the not Letter Room, the one with Oscar Isaac.
That's The Letter Room in live
action. Okay, The Letter Room. I really liked all of the live action shorts a lot, really, really a lot. But Letter Room's really, I love Oscar Isaac so much. And I thought that film told such a story in such a short amount of time. Like, it was so effective in the complete storytelling that you got in that short amount of time. And of course, Oscar Isaac is one of the greatest actors working. So that was, right. Of course, his wife wrote and directed it. So that might be how she got him cast in there, but still great.
Yeah, did you see, or I think my favorite from this year's crop is If Anything Happens, I Love You, from the animated shorts this year. What a just incredible film. And if people are watching us tonight and you aren't a fan of short films, or you haven't really watched any short films, that's okay. That animated block from this year's Oscar nominated shorts is incredible. It is an incredible, and as you said earlier, Hope, it always is. But this year, the animation block really, really stood out to me. And I'm excited about the 2022 nominations, because I suspect we're going to have a larger crop of short films to choose from, just due to the pandemic, right? The fact that it was harder to make a feature. I think a lot of people, we saw Almodovar put out a short film this year. And so I think we could see some really talented filmmakers working in the shorts world. What about international feature? We used to always call this foreign language film. Now it's called international feature. I'm actually a big fan of that. I'd like to stop worrying about what language is spoken and where the film came from. But any favorites from the international features?
Well, I feel like Another Round is certainly the likeliest winner, right? Because it got nominated for Best Director. And it's a funny thing. It's the same director who made The Hunt a few years ago, also with Mads Mikkelsen, who stars in this one. The Hunt is such a great movie. It's such a remarkable, phenomenal movie. And I thought this one was fun. Like, I would not have, I certainly wouldn't put him in the Best Director category. I don't know that I would have even put this in the Best International Feature category. I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was, really well made, but there are so many every year that I was a little, I don't know. What did you think?
So we have been screening Another Round in our virtual screening room for about 7 months.
That's where I saw it, actually.
Okay. And that is because when I saw it, I just couldn't shut up about it. I loved it so much. I also love The Hunt. I programmed it here at the Film Center. And I'm kind of like you. I'm a little bit surprised it got in, and mostly just happy it got into to both the international features and Best Director. I thought Thomas Vinterberg's nomination was probably the biggest shock of the year.
Oh, definitely.
As far as the nominations went. One more thing before we move on to the acting categories. Collective is nominated in both the international features and also in the Best Documentary category features. So I think it's another one that we could potentially, it could upset very easily another round. And obviously, Oscar voters found Collective to be a great film. Did you see Collective?
Yes, it's remarkable. I mean, it's such a it's such just a tribute to investigative journalism. I mean, among other things. I mean, it's a fascinating story. It's unbelievable what they tell you, but at its heart, I think it is just such a compelling reason why investigative journalism is vital to like the survival of the species.
I totally agree. And also another film that just really punches you in the gut.
Yeah.
Some of the footage in that movie is just uh, some of the most shocking I've ever seen in film. Okay, let's get into the categories. Probably most people really want to hear you talk about. So we have a pretty diverse group of nominees in the Best Actor category. We have a pretty diverse set of nominees in the Best Actress category. Any that you want to point out, and then any picks that you think might win?
I think that the tightest race this year is going to be Best Actress. Because it has just swung left and right the whole sort of run up to the Oscars. Viola Davis won the Screen Actors Guild Award, which generally speaking, if it's a close call for me, I go with whoever won the SAG because there's such an overlap in the voting pool. Also, secretly, I love Viola Davis. Like, she is absolutely my favorite working actress. I love her. She's like a hero, so I want her to win as well. But I mean, the performances in this group are so amazing. Vegas has Carey Mulligan winning, which kind of surprises me. She won the Spirit Award last night. Great performance, great movie for a promising young woman. The early frontrunner was Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and that performance is I can't even imagine anybody else in that role, because I think she just has such a completely unaffected way of acting that she blends right in with an entire ensemble of non-actors. And so it wouldn't surprise me to see her win. This would be her third nomination, third win. And that's so her. She's so badass to be like, if I'm nominated, I got it. But I actually think that Andra Day could potentially be the upset in this. She has a lot of momentum. My God, was that performance stunning as Billie Holiday. I mean, in every aspect of that performance, in a movie that's a bit of a mess, to be honest with you, which might, be problematic in terms of voting. But, I think every year there's one upset. So, and this is absolutely the tightest race. So that's my thought, is that she could potentially come out. My ballot has Viola. Again, that might just be bias, but I think that's the most interesting race.
You didn't mention Vanessa Kirby, who also, I mean, how can that? She's in that every scene and shot basically of that film. Yeah, that category is shocking. The way you spoke about Viola Davis made me really happy. I love her, and I also love Carey Mulligan basically that same way. And I would be really happy if this is the moment Carey Mulligan wins. If she wins for this film. So tight category. What do you think about Best Actor?
I think that the performances in Best Actor are astounding, and I think Riz Ahmed, who I have been such a super fan of Riz Ahmed's for such a long time. I think the first thing I saw him in was Four Lions, and I'm like, this guy, and he can do anything, and he's so good in The Sound of Metal, which is such a great movie, and I haven't seen it yet in a theater, and I can't wait. You and I were talking about this offline at one point, where I just can't wait to experience the sound design, the way the film is designed. I can't wait to experience in a theater. And I think that he is magnificent, and he probably would be my pick. I think Chadwick Boseman is the lockiest of all the locks to win. And I don't think that it's simply a gimme because tragically we lost him this year. It's his finest performance. And of course, August Wilson doesn't write bad characters. So he had some great, material to work with.
Right.
But he just was magnificent, just magnificent. I also, the father, Anthony Hopkins, he makes, what does he make? 300 movies a year. He makes a lot of, he doesn't say no. He doesn't say no a lot. I was so happy he said yes to this one because God, he was all in. He was just magnificent.
I would not be surprised if that is the upset of 2021's Oscars, is Anthony Hopkins getting another Oscar. The father is it's criminally underseen at this point. That
Yeah.
it really, I think a lot of people see that. They see Sony Pictures Classics. They see kind of another film that looks like it's targeting one demographic, and you're missing it if you think that. The film is really, really tremendous. And I agree with you. I think Chadwick Boseman wins here, but man, the only person who I was like, okay, whatever, is Gary Oldman. Not that I don't love Gary Oldman. I think he's great, and I loved Mank. I guess it's that same theory that it's a great film and he's in every scene, so he's got to get nominated, right? But I wouldn't be surprised to see Anthony Hopkins win this one.
Right.
Okay, let's real quickly, because we're almost out of time, let's talk about Best Director. This is a historic year. We have 2 women nominated for Best Director. What do you think?
Oh, I think this is Chloe Zhao all day, all day. I don't think there's a chance that anybody else comes away with that award. She's won all of the sort of, overlap awards coming into this, and it's such a startling feat for a director what she did. I mean, it's all daylight shoot, it's all natural lighting. It's mostly a cast of non-actors. It's just so like guerrilla filmmaking the whole time, although that's not what it looks like, does it? I mean, it's such beautiful, beautiful film. On a scope that we don't ever see, of material, like of focal, topics that we don't ever see. It's just it's a revolutionary film, and so incredibly well made. I don't think that there is a chance anybody else wins that.
Well, it's tough to find any cracks in what you said. But I agree with you. I think getting nominated in this category this year is like winning if you're going up against Chloe Zhao, because I think she's probably going to win. She's certainly won all the awards that tell us who's going to win, including Directors Guild, and not a lot of gray area there. So we're probably wrong, Hope, and that'll be the one.
It'll be the one.
That'll be the one that we didn't see coming. Okay, Best Picture is all we really have left to talk about. We have 8 nominees this year, as you noted earlier in the show. All very deserving films this year. There's nothing that you just go like, what the hell? On the snub side, there's a few. I was really disappointed to see One Night in Miami or First Cow not get in. But what's your pick here?
I want to say 2 things. First of all, because we're not going to get to supporting Daniel Kaluuya in Judas and the Black Messiah, best performance I saw from anybody all year. Unreal.
Great.
Burned through the screen. And I think Best Picture is tougher to choose than people realize, because the Academy votes on it differently than they vote on everything else. Everything else, you get your nominations, you pick the one you like best, you're done. That's not how they do Best Picture. You pick your nominations, and if you pick the one that didn't get any votes, right, they come back to you and they drop the 3 that got the fewest votes, and they come back again. So you could get, it ends up being your 3rd choice for an awful lot of voters. And what that means is that it dilutes really the movie that has the most passion at the beginning is rarely the one that wins. It's usually the one that everybody is fine with. The least, polarizing is the one that usually wins. So my actual ballot says Nomadland. I don't know that Nomadland is particularly polarizing, but I know a lot of people who thought it was boring and didn't care for it. Hopefully not Academy voters. I think Minari is a beautiful movie, and B, very safe. I don't think anybody on earth could dislike the movie Minari. So I'm going with Nomadland, but I think if there's an upset this year, it could be Minari. What do you think?
I also think Nomadland. Again, a lot of the things that we use as the measuring sticks for what's going to win, Nomadland has won. But I think that there might be 2 other. You did a great job, by the way, explaining how the Best Picture voting works. I think there might be 2 other dark horses. One is Trial of the Chicago 7. And if you remember back when this was a Paramount picture, way back in the beginning of 2020, this was everybody's pick to win at the end of the year. It was Sorkin. It was this film that Spielberg had tried to make. And then, so and the timing of the Chicago 7 felt really important in America. So, and then the other one is The Father. Again, it's very similar to what you said. It may not have been everybody's favorite film or their first pick on the ballot, but I think there's a pretty fair chance it showed up on a lot of people's ballots, and I would not be surprised at all to see The Father sneak in and take home Best Picture Sunday night. So that'll be fun for us to see together on Sunday night. Hope.
Yeah. I think George, my husband George, he's with you on. He thinks that the one that might sneak in is The Trial of the Chicago 7, which given my sort of formula, that's a pretty safe bet. That's got Hollywood Oscars wins the Academy Award all over it. I will be sorely disappointed if it wins.
You know, what's fascinating before we go to our questions is the Academy ready to give Netflix, give Trial of Chicago 7 this win? I don't know if they are, especially in this year when so many theaters and theater.
Well, I think Roma won.
No, I mean after 2020, when cinemas went through such a hard time, are they really willing to give Netflix this win? I don't know, but it'll be really interesting to watch. And I do like your husband, George is a smart guy. We had two questions that we had for tonight. One was from Daniel Garcia, and his question was, who do you think will win Best Picture? Daniel, I think we've answered this one for you. Hope and I are both going with Nomadland with some potential upsets. And also, yes, she and I can make a case for all 8 of the films. So maybe we're not the right two to ask. And then, so sorry, Daniel, we didn't give you a really, really great answer. And then, we had another question from Tom Kerwin, Hope, and I think this one is fascinating. I'm interested to hear your answer. What movie do you think will win the most Oscars this year?
I love that question. Nomadland. I mean, Mank is nominated for a lot. Oh, that's a tough question. I'm going to go with Nomadland.
I'm going with Nomadland or Promising Young Woman. I know Mank got nominated a lot, but it feels like one of those movies that gets nominated a whole bunch of times and doesn't win anything. Cinematography is going to be quite the category this year. You really can just pick any of them. I'm okay with what wins, but it's going to be a tough category. And a lot of times, as you know, that's the place you find the one that wins the most. So we'll have to see. Okay. Again, Hope, thanks again for joining. I want to make sure we remind audiences, Gateway Film Center is open this weekend and will be open. We screened Nomadland last night. Tonight, we have Minari and Promising Young Woman, and then the other 5 nominated films screen once on Saturday or Sunday. And then we have the animated short films that are nominated and the live action shorts on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have the documentary short films. So if audience have a chance to see those, they can come out to Gateway Film Center and see them this weekend. 8 o'clock, we'll be showing the Oscars in screening room 1 in that big screen. So that's exciting. I know you and I'll be here. And finally, it's out a little bit in the world. You've written about it a little bit, but the Film Center will return to normal programming on May 27th. And we are very, very excited about that return. And if it's okay with you, Hope, I thought we'd scoop people a little bit on what some of the programs they can expect to see when we reopen on the 27th.
Yes, please.
So the first one is we're going to be doing, one of the ways a lot of people became Film Center members or found Gateway Film Center was we did this first ever Ghibli retrospective 5 years ago. And I think we're the first place on earth to screen every single one of them chronologically. A lot of people discovered the Film Center through that exercise. And also, I think more importantly, found some appreciation for world animation.
Right.
I think we live in the golden era of animation, and a lot of those great films aren't being made in the United States. So we're going to be doing a retrospective to another studio we really love from Ireland called Cartoon Saloon. I know you love them, Hope. They've had 4 features. I believe you and I are giant fans of all 4. Secret of Kells, Sound of the Sea, The Breadwinner, and of course, this year nominated for Best Animated Feature, Wolf Walkers. So we'll be screening all 4 of those films in a retrospective, along with all of the short films from Cartoon Saloon. So I'm hoping the audiences who haven't seen those films yet discover them kind of the same way a lot of audiences discovered Ghibli when we did the retrospective 5 or 6 years ago. Another thing is we mentioned Chloe Zhao earlier on this broadcast. We both believe she's going to walk away with a bunch of trophies Sunday night. And we're one of those really rare venues, certainly in the United States, maybe in the world, who's actually played her other 2 films. So Songs My Brother Taught Me played here in 2015, and The Rider played here in 2017. I love both those movies. So we'll be bringing both of those back along with Nomadland for a quick Chloe Zhao retro.
Awesome.
And then we'll also be screening from the commercial side, Quiet Place Part 2, the early buzz on this film is that it's better than the first film, which I know we both were fond of. And so I'm very excited to announce that'll be here as well. And a whole bunch of other things people will love. So there's a few things for people to look forward to when we return Memorial Day weekend, May 27th.
Yay.
I paused for your feedback. Your yay was exactly what I was looking for. So thank you. That did for tonight's show. Hope, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's always great to talk Oscars with you. I know the audience enjoyed hearing your take, and on Monday, I'll be the first one to call you and let you know how you did. If you're interested in getting tickets to any of these screenings, if you would like to watch a movie in the virtual screening room or make a donation to Gateway Film Center, visit us at gatewayfilmcenter.org. It's been great being with you tonight. We hope to see you this weekend. If not, we'll see you Memorial Day weekend. Everybody stay safe and take care.